Welcome back to another video, Rams Nation. Today I'm going to recap the Rams' big win over the Colts. I'm going to start off with a scoring recap, and then I'm going to move through the stat leaders, and then I'm going to go through the team stats, and then I'm going to give out team awards. To open the game, the Rams opened up with a 50-yard field goal, and then on the next defensive possession, the Colts' first possession of the game, Scott Tolzien threw an interception to Trumaine Johnson, and he returned it for a 39-yard touchdown. On the Colts' following drive, they marched down the field, and Marlon Mack appears to have a touchdown, but he was ruled out at the 1, and the Colts decide not to challenge, and the Colts get stuffed on the next 3 plays, and they have to settle for a field goal. The next 2 scoring drives ended in a 5-yard touchdown by Todd Gurley and Cooper Kupp's first touchdown of his career from 18 yards out from a pass from Jared Goff. Greg Zuerlein then kicks a field goal right before halftime to make the score 27-3. To open up the second half scoring, the Rams kick a 44-yard field goal. The next Rams score comes on defense after quarterback Scott Tolzien stares down his wide receiver and Lamarcus Joyner picks it off and takes it to the house for his first career interception. Later in the quarter, Colts running back Marlon Mack finishes off a 5-play, 84-yard drive with a 3-yard touchdown, the first Colts touchdown of the game. Adam Vinatieri missed the extra point, and earlier in the game he missed a field goal, so he did not have a good game. The next Rams score comes on defense again. This time it's a safety. Marlon Mack fumbled. It rolls back into the end zone. Colts backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett falls on it, and Morgan Cox tackles him in the end zone for 2 points. And the Rams don't stop there. With about 4 minutes left, Malcolm Brown scores from 3 yards out. The pile pushes him in for the final touchdown of the game, and the final score ends up being 46-9 Rams. Now it's time for your statistical leaders on offense. Jared Goff was 21 for 29 and 306 yards, which was a career high for him, and he had 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. It was a great game from him. Cooper Kupp was the leading receiver of the game. He had 4 receptions for 76 yards, which came out to an average of 19 yards per catch, and he had 1 touchdown. Sammy Watkins had 5 receptions for 58 yards, which came out to an 11.6 average, and Robert Woods had 3 receptions for 53 yards, which came out to a 17.7 yards per catch. All 3 of them in their first game as Rams had very good days. In addition to those guys, Todd Gurley had 19 carries for 40 yards, which came out to a 2.1 average, and he had 5 catches for 56 yards, which came out to an 11.2 average, and he had 96 total yards on the day and 1 rushing touchdown. On defense, Michael Brockers was the leading tackler with 5. Trumaine Johnson had 1 interception, and he returned that for a touchdown. He had a fumble recovery on the fumble that he forced, and Robert Quinn, Tyrone Walker, Ethan Westbrooks, and Matthew Longacre all had a sack each. Now it's time for team statistics. On offense, we had 19 first downs. We were 5 for 14 on third down, which was 35%, which is still a little below average. We had 373 total yards, which is pretty decent. We beat the Colts out by over 100. We were 3 for 4 in the end zone, which came out to 75%, and we had 1 sack allowed. And that was one thing that really stood out in this game was pass protection. Jared Goff had all day to throw. And on defense, we allowed 225 yards, which in comparison to our 373, that's pretty good. We had 2 interceptions, 4 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. And the Colts were 0 for 10 on third down, which is an amazing stat on defense. And over the whole game, we had 7 penalties for 50 yards, which was more than the Colts, but that's not too bad compared to what the Rams were like last year. Now it's time for the Rams Nation Team Awards. For the offensive player of the game, it was Jared Goff. He had a career day. He had 306 yards, which was his most in his career. Last year he averaged 155.6 yards per game, and he doubled that in this game. The defensive player of the game was Trumaine Johnson for obvious reasons. The pick 6 at the beginning of the game was a spark, and that was good for the defense. And then he had a fumble recovery on the fumble that he forced. The rookie of the game was obviously Cooper Kupp. He had 74 yards and a touchdown. He had a few amazing catches. One was a little overthrown, and he had it in his hand, it bobbled, and he caught it. And another one was a jump ball that came down with the defender. They were both holding at the same time, but he was the one to come down with it. And the MVP is the offensive player of the game, and that's Jared Goff. Like I said, it was his first win. 306 yards was a career high, and he doubled his average from last year. The Rams came away relatively healthy with only 1 injury that I know of, and that is Kayvon Webster. He seemed to hurt his shoulder earlier in the game. Since it was a blowout, I don't think he came back. I don't think he'll miss that much time. but he was out earlier in the game and he did not come back in. One thing that I've been noticing on social media is that Tavon Austin only had 7 offensive snaps. He did get a couple rushes and 1 reception. He didn't get that many yards. That might be due to him just coming back off of injury, since he didn't play in the preseason at all. And on a punt return, he did fumble it, so that might have something to do with it. But I see he might fall down the depth chart, but I don't think you should look into it that much because, like I said, he just came off of an injury. Maybe they're just starting to work him in slowly. So that's about it for this video. Sean McVay gets his first career win with the Rams. Next week, the Rams play his former team, the Washington Redskins. The Rams open up as 2.5 favorites. And that's it, Rams Nation. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, share the video, share the good news that the Rams won. Rub it in your Colts fans' face if you have any friends. Rub it into anyone's face. The Rams are first in the division. Everyone else lost, so that's great news. Thanks for watching.